Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're so glad to welcome you as part of our community tonight. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and distributed live stream. By entering this virtual meeting room, you give your consent to be recorded and distributed by Vienna Live with Simeon Moro and other third parties. If you wish to not be recorded and distributed, please go to the LinkedIn live video feed, the link to which I just placed in the chat room. This show thrives on participant contributions, and all participants are encouraged to actively participate by asking questions and making comments. To do so, please write in the chat room or turn on your microphone, say hi. We'll be delighted to include your perspective in the conversation. Tonight, our featured guests are cellist and founder of the Bechtler Ensemble, Tanja Bechtler, and lecturer, public speaker, and practice horror leader, Svetlana Baklanova. Their new album, The Destiny of Armenia Is Its Cross, will be the subject of tonight's conversation. Welcome, Tanja.
Thank you. Great to be here. Thank you, Simeon, for having us.
Tanja, so I understand you're originally from Switzerland. Tell us the story of how you first encountered Armenia.
Well, it goes back to about 20 years. I was on disability from the Charlotte Symphony. I had been with them for 12 years. I was tenured. And I was looking for some answers, physically, mentally, spiritually. And I came across a magazine that featured this entirely new method called hora. And there was a teacher listed there, a leader by the name of Svetlana Baklanova, who's on the show with us today. And so I called her up, and through that meeting, my whole life changed. This method, the founder actually from this method is Armenian, which is why it got me interested in Armenia. That's kind of as a summary what happened to me, because I never looked back from then on. It got me back to playing the cello and to having a joyful life. And it's not something that I can pretend didn't happen, because it was such a huge change. And that's why I dedicate all my music to this training. And it's, like I said, the founder of it is, he was Armenian. And so I wanted to see what I could find from this culture, also having known, of course, what happened through many centuries to the country. And I was amazed that how beautiful the culture was and still is. And so I did some research, and I came upon the Komitas arrangements of string quartet. And then also through the internet, befriended Armine Ghuloyan, who is a wonderful pianist herself, and has written some beautiful compositions. And so I wanted, as a thank you and a gratitude, to showcase the Armenian music and the culture. And it also is a testament to myself and to this culture, the resilience that these people have. And then through it also the connection with the method that brought me back into a resilient life, you could say.
Wow. So is that right if I say you were at the start, your complete career was disrupted because of illness, and then through this practice hora, you were brought back to life, able to be a musician again. Is that right?
After the first class, I knew this was something different. Actually, just reading about it the very first time, I had this electrical charge going through my whole body. I've never had it since. And all my hairs were standing up, and I was thinking to myself, what is this? So unusual. And then I tried it out, and it's from the first class. It was something highly unusual. And I had done a lot of research, and I was always interested in a deeper part of life. And so I was already on that path, but I just was still searching.
Okay.
So I went from a very what looked like a wonderful life on the outside to really complete going to the complete bottom. And that is when I came upon this training that's, Svetlana Baklanova brought to America.
Let's take a look. Here we have a video.
I feel a lot more relaxed. I feel like my muscles are very warm. Everything feels very fluid.
I actually do feel a lot better than when I came. I feel more energized rather than calm. And I thought it was re-energizing and very therapeutic. And I actually had a pretty stressful weekend.
I really liked it. My body feels very relaxed. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
So welcome, Svetlana.
Thank you so much, Simeon. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, everybody. Happy to be here.
So Tanya, so clearly I was having trouble understanding your work at first. Still, after seeing this video, I still have a little bit of trouble. I understand since 2021, you've been at the Harvard Kennedy School in the Department of Social and Political Science, focusing on social development, leadership, and public speaking, and that this area of study is closely related to your profession, namely as a practice hora leader in the United States. Tell us exactly how you got into this, what this is, and again, how this relates to Armenia.
I have to say right away that my professional work doesn't really relate to Armenia in the sense that we're going to be speaking about it. But I would like to say that practice hora in the market approximately for 35 years. I am the first person to bring it to United States, but we have worked in 3 different states, and we have another professional who is working together with me. In the sense of organization, we are educational, but in the sense of the outcome, it is a transformational, experiential training practice. I also have been invited to TED Talk in 2019, where I explained that my story has been athletics. In athletic, I loved high bar gymnastics, and I injured myself. Of course, with this, despite all of my passion into the career and study the social development, when you have some form, just like Tanya, difficulties to move in life, you're searching. And that is how my life connected me to Alexander Atayan, as we know the phenomena, to my view, Master Hora. His training and my decision to become a professional straightly related to the idea that overcoming difficulties, being able to drive your life into the power of decision making, clarity of mind, calmness in action, And this transformation bringing me into saying that I am presenting a new profession, which is taking a new evolutionary species step consciously, where you relate to the behavior that influenced the genetics, while the other way in the cultural genetics influences the behavior. And that's nature of my study. This is the training that you see, one part of it that is called horror transport. We have different type of trainings and different type of presentation of the same practice horror movement. I work closely with youth and their parents, and what we are seeing as an outcome is that nature of this training, bringing kids to be able to manage themselves through difficulties, and especially in the transitional period, while they are moving from childhood into a grown-up life and all the difficulties they have to manage, despite all the speed of today life information and how the social development sometimes catching us into anxiety and some form of depressions. Practice horror is being able to be a social trend and ability for others to choose conscious development and education in this level. So my interest in Armenian culture started from the word horror, because it's not a literal word that is in the culture, used mostly in a spiritual sense, that presents depth and faith, depth of faith. And that's where I started to study Armenian culture on my own. This is my own personal interest that I put years into that. Since 2016, me and a co-writer of this article, Angelica Shatrov, who is from Greek descent, was trying to find out how is that possible that Armenia from centuries have been a land of conquering and the suffering from that for so many generations. Could it be changed, the destiny of Armenia? And talking to hundreds of Armenian people who is deeply into that process, but trying to survive, and the survivability in this mode, the faith, the power of faith brought me to the knowledge that land of Armenia is built out of on the stone, and the stone have been carved into the crosses for centuries since the Egyptian civilization. And the power of being awakened from the memory of the cross from the previous generations to keep going, to survive, that is the beauty of the connection. Where I have been studying how this Hachkar, the cross, the carved out of the stone in the face of the religion of Armenian people, and their faith become their power. That's what I see as the connection.
Extraordinary. Let's take a look at our music video we have here. This is from the album. This is Splendor Like a Plane Tree. Tanya, so how did you get acquainted with, then of course you told us how you met Svetlana. Did she tell you about this article she wrote? And then you decided, well, I'm going to make an album. I'm going to put this to music, or how did you conceive of transforming
No,
that?
it's because without our health, without our energy, without that, there is no creativity, there is no culture, there is just basic survival. And that's where I was at. I was just basic survival. And anyone who's ever been in that position knows what that is like. And it's suffering. And so I was so beyond grateful to have my life back that I've been wanting to do something like this for many years. And so that's really why I did it. And then, of course, the article ties in so beautifully with the music that I wanted to include that, and obviously wanted to be Svetlana, to have her be on the show, because without her, without this meeting with her, I don't know where I would be at today. And I also have a son, so I'm also thinking of future generations. What is there for them in this changing world with AI? We all know what's happening in nature with the air, the food quality, the more illnesses that our young people have, mental, physical, you name it. So, being a 39-year-old when I found this training, and then seeing where I am today at age 58, I'm absolutely amazed. And so, if somebody in that condition, already 39, can, after, these whatever 20 some years, age the way I'm aging, and then I'm thinking, well, what would that do for young people that don't have, all the baggage, et cetera, et cetera. So that is why I wanted to do it this way. And I'm so appreciative that Svetlana can be on the show, because like I said, without her bringing that to America, I would not be here today like this.
Let's watch another music video. This is Sing Cello number 3. So this brings us to the philosophical part of the conversation. The quote, the Bechtler Ensemble fosters unity among people of all backgrounds through music and education, creating a space for awareness, peace, and meaningful dialogue, end quote. Starting with Svetlana and then Tanya, how do you see music promoting unity today? Isn't Armenia in particular and the Middle East in general a good example of disunity?
It is a very interesting and a difficult, somewhat question to answer simply. But one thing I wanted to say, as Tanya expressed and shared with us her difficulties in early life, we're seeing today young people who are looking for more meaningful faith, more meaningful idea of how to use themselves, being self-sufficient, being not afraid of making wrong moves in life, being thriving in today's world is difficult on its own. But the history of Armenia is a great example to me for those young individuals who are searching for examples. For more than 540 years since the Armenia started to be conquered. Throughout all those years, the faith of Armenians presented to us a genetical power in some sort that I was absolutely amazed when I started talking to those people who I've been asking this question, is that possible to be changed? Because as Simeon, you just mentioned that it have not been stopped. Armenian people still under the pressure, still in a conflict in this world. And I think their point of who the Armenian people are in the history of the planet really have been undervalued, because in the 301 AD, they took Christianity, their own belief, religion in as a country. So that saved the whole movement back then. We don't even know how much difficult it was back then. We understand the difficulties of now, and every person understands difficulties only when you really face it, when you have to deal with it. So looking back, looking at the youth dealing with stress, depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and so much more, and how it was back then, 540 years ago, I just see that beauty of power, not conflicting power, is somewhat presented in the idea that our planet is a stone, Armenia built on a stone. Stone represent memory, memory and awakened memory that Armenian have as this word hora that brought by Master Hora, that depth inside, deep inside in your heart, that you could be calm at action, you could be clear in your head when you're making decisions. So to me, it's not an easy answer. The unity, you have to have three components to be creative. You have to have the road that you're going on your life. You have to have the power in order to go for your goal. And you have to have a technique of how you actually do it all together in the society. So social development is very important. Helping youth to find their own inner power is very important. Not forgetting our ancestry. This is what Armenian culture really taught me, that you cannot disregard the strength that put through the generation in order for us to be here and what we're doing and how we are surviving in this world. So I think it is a beautiful knowledge that we gain from Master Hora in order for us to take this tool and to remember the cultures that did something fascinating and extra unordinary for us, the power of apostles who are bringing this knowledge. Again, I am not belong to religion sense or the culture of Armenia, but I do understand the difficulties of today, and that's what I am talking about.
Tanya?
Yeah, that's very well put. The only thing I would maybe add is that we all use words or have meanings for words in a different way with a different culture, which is why it's sometimes hard to understand each other. Music is a universal language. We all express ourselves through emotions, joy, sadness, and that in music is so strong. So I think that touches all of our hearts in the same way. And so that is where I see the unity. But of course, if we don't have our strength, like Svetlana was talking about, there's no creativity and we're just in survival mode. So this is, and we'd have to go back. Who wants to go backwards? We all want to move forward. And with AI, like I mentioned earlier, it seems the gap between adults and their youth, you know, including myself and my son, it's bigger and bigger because they are no longer looking to their parents. They have a completely different world. And I noticed with my son, even when he was 10 and starting to do the electronics, it, slowly I was not able to communicate with him in that same way as I, or what I was hoping, because he was in a completely different world that I didn't grow up like that. You know, we were playing on the streets with the other kids. We were running out in the woods. The kids these days, well, a lot of them, they don't have that, and you have to have electronics in order to function in the world today. So that's another thing that we all are seeing. I'm not the only one. Everybody is. So um, so that is also this training is a way for young people to find um, their roots, not just in electronics and this outside world, but the roots within themselves. And it's 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week. You don't need any special equipment. It's not hard to do. You don't have to be flexible. You don't have to be muscular, athletic, none of those things. Just have to be able to walk, basically, stand and sit, you know, that's it.
Okay, let's listen to the final track of the evening. This is Girls Dance. Lovely. Are there any questions, any comments? Would anyone like to jump in and say anything, contribute to this conversation? You're welcome to. Then I will go ahead with the final question while you're thinking about it. From my side, first to Svetlana and then to Tanja, what do you wish all of us, what do you wish that we take away from listening to this album, discovering these new gems of music?
The music itself is so deep and so beautiful that it definitely would bring a thought that anything that you would really wish to do in this life is possible, but you have to have a unity of three components. You would have to have inner need to do something, then you have to have always energy, ongoing resource of energy to do anything that you wish. And then you have to have a path, the goal. And with this, I would say that remembering our past generations, being thankful to everything that is done in this world for us, and really thinking that overcoming is not something difficult. You just have to find yourself in the calmness in action. And check our website and have a wonderful day. Beautiful, wonderful day. Thank you.
Anya?
I feel a great responsibility that what happened to me, that I pass that along and that I don't just say, thank you so much. It worked for me. I feel great. It's wonderful. And just now be quiet about it. Um, and I do think, of course, music is a wonderful thing in our lives and can uplift us and help us through all kinds of crises. So I connected it with this method because this method carried me forward and is continuing to carry me forward as a musician.
Okay, let's see how we can get the album. It's on navonarecords.com. All you have to do is come up to search when you get to Navona Records, and then you just put in Bechtler Ensemble, and it should come up right away. There it is. And so you can purchase the album, you can listen to it, stream it, buy it, learn more about it. Again, that's navonarecords.com. The title of the album is The Destiny of Armenia and Its Cross. And if you'd like to stay in touch with Tanja, just go to bechtlerensemble.com, and people can reach out to you at this website if they have any questions, Tanja.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. So again, that's bechtlerensemble.com. And if you'd like to stay in touch with Svetlana, then you go to sbhoratraining.com, and people can reach out to you at this website with their questions, Svetlana?
Yes.
Perfect. So you can email them, text them. Again, that's sbhoratraining.com. Thank you so very much to Tanja Bechtler and to Svetlana Baklanova.
Thank you so much for having us, Simeon.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
So before we go, I'd like us to take a look at simeonmora.com, where you can find all information about upcoming shows. And while you're at it, you can also sponsor Vienna Live for $5 a month and receive one Vienna Live Celebrates 5 Years mug, or for $10 a month, you receive one Vienna Live Celebrates 5 Years mug and one Vienna Live City tote bag. If you click on custom, you can also sponsor the show for as much or as little as you like. It is there's no minimum. All sponsorships are necessary to keep this show going as a free public service. And coming up next week on Vienna Live, we have Greg Ron Side Hustle. Known for his arsenal of keyboards, charismatic stage presence, and chops that enable him to glide effortlessly between jazz, blues, fusion, and rock, keyboardist Greg Ron brings his mastery to all of these styles to bear on his new album, Side Hustle. Let's discover the San Francisco jazz scene. That's again next Wednesday. Greg Ron Side Hustle. As always, all information about upcoming shows may be found at www.simeonmora.com. Once again, thank you so very much to Tanja Bechtler and to Svetlana Baklanova. Thank you to Vienna Live's corporate and individual sponsors. Your ongoing support allows Vienna Live to operate as a free classical music public service. Thanks very much to my cousin Mike, a marketer from Layer App. If you're an architect or an engineer, they have a really cool tool you should check out. Of course, thanks most of all to you, our participants, who make it all worthwhile, from Washington, D.C., Charlotte, North Carolina, and Chicago, Illinois. Goodbye, and see you next Wednesday.